morning, welcome to my channel. My name's Dawn, I'm the Reclusive Crafter, and today is Stashbusting Saturday. And I have made the piece with my stash. I'll show you it now, and then I'll show you how to do the mechanism for you to go away and do whatever you want to do with it. I first saw the mechanism that I'm going to be showing you on YouTube. I can't remember who I originally saw doing it, but I saw a video of Gail Agostinelli's a few days ago, and she did it, and it just reminded me about it, and I thought that would make a perfect mechanism for what I'm trying to achieve here. So you may recall I had a pocket here right in the front of the journal that I'd actually forgotten was there, and I wanted to make something to go in there. So I have come up with this, and this is little Alice. She spins out. The journal cards themselves that I've made, I think are just lovely as well. The first page, this was made out of the rice paper that I had, and it had already on it, today is a blank page in your book, and I thought that was ideal as a starting point for any journal. So I've utilised that. I've just added a few little bits of embellishments there. And then on the second journal card, this was a card that was already in my stash, Family Where Life Begins and Love Never Ends. And I just thought that was beautiful with the little red roses on. And then we've got a third journal card just with a little bit of embellishment there. Now this one is actually one of Scrimping Mummy's, but I think that came from Diary of a Lady, if I remember rightly. And all I've done is I've added one of the little labels from the kit for Alice and a couple of the little mini cards there. And then the final journal card is just with the memories label there, and I've made that the teacup and saucers, the cake and the drink me bottle, and there's just some little roses and things there as well. So that's what I made out of my stash for today. All I'm going to do today is just show you how to make that mechanism. It's so simple to do, it really is, but it gives you lots of fun. Look, I mean, look how lovely and interactive this is. It's just lovely. And then this, like I say, just sits in the front pocket there. Alice just slips over the top like so, and it even looks like she's just jumped out of that little box there, doesn't it? It's beautiful. Absolutely thrilled with how this came out. So let me show you how to make the little mechanism. Very, very simple. All right, choose your journal cards. All I've done is I've just pulled out a little couple of pieces of little scrap card here, just to show you the principle of the idea. All right, what you are going to need are 2 hole punches, 2 different sizes. I've got a 1/2 inch and I think that one's a 1/2 inch. Let me just double check that. Yeah, so that one's a 1/2 inch. Okay, and I've also got an inch punch there. All right, and I've already punched out the little circles, so if you haven't got punches you can cut them out by hand. It's no great shakes. So I've punched out 3 of the inch circles, so there's 3 of the inch circles that I punched out, and I've also got 1 of the 1/2 inch. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is to find out where you want it. Now I put mine in the center, but if you want it to pivot on the corner, you can just pop them in the corner if you prefer to do so. All right, so work out first of all where you want your holes. Where's my hole punch? There it is. All right, now for mine, I did them in the center. I'm just going to eyeball them this. I was a little bit more particular with the ones that I've put in the journal, but for just speed, I'm just going to eyeball these, but you can measure where you want them. All right, and you need the smaller of the hole punches to make your hole in the journal card. All right, so I'm going to pop those out, and then just so I know exactly where that was, I'm going to just mark the top of the circle there, so that I know that when I go to this one, that's going to be in just about the same place. So I don't know if you can see there, that pencil mark is just at the center, at the top of the circle there. Hopefully you can see that okay. And then I'm just going to punch that out, and then they should now marry up perfectly. All right, so those are your holes. So that's your first bit done. Very simple. And however many cards you're using, I wouldn't recommend using more than maybe 3 or 4 cards, because otherwise your mechanism might be a little bit difficult to work with. Second step is you want to use one of your smaller hole punches or your punch outs and lay it over the top of the larger one. Okay, and you want to get it pretty much in the center if you can. All right, and then all we're going to do is draw a circle around that so that you know where that line is. All right, so as you can see there now, I've just got a circle in the center of there. And what I'm going to do with that, so I'm just going to make sure we are recording. We are. And what I'm going to do with that now is I'm going to mark. Let me go on to there, because you can probably see that better rather than the cream on the cream. All right, so we've got our circle there, and now I'm going to mark the top there and come straight down and do the bottom. Okay, and now what we want to do is to turn that roughly 30 degrees. Doesn't have to be science orientated, just roughly 30 degrees. And then what we're going to do again is go top and bottom, and then roughly 30 degrees again, and we're going to go top and bottom again. All right, so now what you've got is 6 little pencil marks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Grab a little pair of scissors, and we're now going to cut down those pencil marks just slightly inside the circle that you've drawn. And when I say slightly, I literally just mean just literally within where the pencil mark was. All right, we're going to cut round all 6 pieces, or all 6 marks. Like I say, just within that center mark. Ooh, got the shakes again. And that one. And a couple more to do. That one. And that one. Okay, so that's all 6 now cut. So you've got your big circle, you've got your inner circle, you've done your 6 marks, and now you've just cut down your six little marks that you've made. Now fold in the top piece, so that piece will fold in like so. Miss the next one and fold in the next one. Miss the next one and fold in the next one. Okay, so that's how you do that. So you end up with that shape. Okay, let me pop that on there. So you end up with that shape. It's almost like the radiation sign. I think that's a radiation sign, isn't it? So it's almost like that. Okay, now we're going to take a second disc, and we want to stick this onto here. So not the side with the folded bits, the non-folded side. We are going to stick that onto the second disc. All right, and that now goes on there. Okay, so we've now ended up with a whole disc and part of the disc that's been folded over. All right, now is the technical bit. Now we pop that bit through there and we fold those over. So now what we've got is those folded in bits folded back out, and that's what's holding your paper tight. Okay, And now what we want to do is we want to put just a dab of glue on those pieces and just the tiniest little bit of glue on the center. And when I say the tiniest, you do not want that oozing around, okay, because this needs to spin. So you don't want it to be on the journal cards themselves. So if your glue's blobbed a little bit, just spread it out so that it doesn't get onto the journal cards themselves. And then your third disc, you're now going to line that up and pop that over there. Okay. So now you've ended up with one disc on the back and one disc on the front. You can embellish these however you want to, and that is what you end up with. How simple is that? That is so simple. And then what you can do with that is absolutely endless. Okay, so you've seen my little Alice. So here she is, and she'll even spin on her own. I don't even have to pull those cards out if I don't want to. But when you do pull that out, you've got Alice pointing at her notes there. She spins out. You've got the little rabbit. That will spin out. That will spin out. That will spin out. And that will spin round as well. And each card will spin round 360 degrees. And on the reverse side of that, you've got all this journaling space as well. How clever is that? That's brilliant. I absolutely love it. And I love the way that's come together. I think the cards are absolutely stunning. And the way it fits into the pocket is just perfect. And little Alice slotting over the top there, I just think is the absolute perfect start to a journal. If you can imagine, if that's in the journal itself, when you open it up to be presented with that, I just think that's lovely. I really am very, very pleased with the way that's come out. So that's that. Next video is where are we at the moment? We're on Stashbusting Saturday, so next video will be Mishmash Monday. I am hoping to have the journal all completed by Monday. Don't shoot me if it's not, but I'm hoping it will all be finished and I can give you a full walkthrough so that you can see it all in its glory. So if I don't see you before, have a lovely weekend. Enjoy making your little embellishments to be able to do your little twisty journal cards. And I will look forward to seeing you all on Mishmash Monday. Take care, everybody. Have a lovely weekend. Bye.